Hello everybody, and welcome back to RITF Gaming, where today I shall be doing the Wii U review part 2, where we look at the functions and user interface of the Wii U. I'm saying that a few too many times. Let's get on with the video. Roll the tape! So powering up the Wii U for the first time brings you to the main menu, and when I first powered it up, I found it a lot better than anything Microsoft or Sony had managed this time around. Effectively, it's really just an extension of the Wii menu with a bunch of channels to pick from and multiple screens to load them on. But the fact is, what I really like about it is it's very similar to a smartphone interface, and obviously the familiarity of most people with a smartphone interface makes this really accessible from the off, and that very fact alone makes it so much better than anything Microsoft or Sony have done in terms of UI. Perhaps, as I say, I might be a little bit biased because I have had this for a while now, so I'm kind of used to it, but I have obviously used the PS4 and Xbox One as well. The also other good part with this is that there are two screens involved. Of course, the gamepad holds the sort of the channels part, you know, where you can select the various functions you want the Wii U to possibly do. The other part is on the television screen, although there is the option to swap between the two, where you can instead have everyone in like various communities or various games, and you can see all their activities recently. I really like this idea, as Nintendo have successfully sort of brought everybody into this community without really pushing people into sort of doing it, but I still think they've done it a lot better than the competition. And it just really captures the vibe of being in the community. And obviously, as I say, you can press the X button to swap the screens around, so you can have the community screen on the touchpad instead, and have the menu on the TV, just so you can have a look and tap around and everything like that. Speaking of online community, I really do have to say that one of the best parts in the whole video, as far as I'm concerned, is this Miiverse. The Miiverse is one of the most innovative ideas ever. It just blows anything Sony and Microsoft have done out of the water when it comes to social connectivity. Effectively, it's like a Google Plus or a Facebook, but for Nintendo, and it allows you to follow your friends, join in online communities for the games you play, and you know, for help, just to chat about them. And you're obviously able to follow users a la like sort of Twitter or Google Plus. Speaking of which, you know, you can follow our channel pages at RITF Gaming on Google Plus, Facebook and Twitter, in fact. But enough shameless plugging. Essentially, it's a huge leap in the right direction, and once again I was just grabbed by how user-friendly the interface was, and it looks fantastic, especially when you pop it into the big screen. Another feature I really approve of is just that, being able to pop it between the two screens, so you don't have to sort of swivel your hands around and go, oh, have a look at this. You just go pop the X button up on the screen for your mates to see. You can also head to Nintendo's eShop to download applications, and again, this is a pretty simple process. This is one of the 6 functions on the menu that are located at the bottom of the screen, independent of the icons that are sort of like the Wii menu. And I really like how Nintendo have emphasised these functions, such as Miiverse, eShop, Internet Browser, etc, etc. From there you can sort of download applications like YouTube, the iPlayer, and of course loads and loads and loads of games, both new titles such as Devil's Third, which goes for about $49.99, and a Minecraft clone which you can get for about £5 or so. So there's nice variety in there. There's not a huge amount of indie games, but there are some, and they have presence on the front page, and again, I just really like that. And actually, whilst we're talking about YouTube, games such as Mario Kart 8 allow you to upload footage straight to YouTube, providing you have a connected account, of course. And with Mario Kart TV, it's an option you can select on the menu, and then just pick a highlights reel, and it's about 30 seconds long. You may have noticed, actually, that we've already done this on the channel, by the way. And I just like how it's really easy to share that functionality to something. I know it's Sony especially have placed a large emphasis on this, but it's a lot more of a straightforward process, I feel, than Sony's, where you have to change settings depending on how long you want it to be, yada yada yada. I mean, obviously it has more limitations than Sony's, especially obviously it's controlled in-app rather than as over the whole of the machine, but it is a step in the right direction. I still feel it's better than anything Microsoft have really done. And if Microsoft have done anything about it, well, they haven't really made enough noise about it. Because, let's be honest, I work in the industry, and if I don't know if Microsoft have done it, there's an issue here. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about the Wii U. So let's move on to the next part. And as far as the YouTube app and I guess as well the iPlayer app are concerned, it's actually really sort of nice to use. The quality is very, very good considering, I mean, I've watched it mostly on the gamepad. I prefer to have that kind of thing closer to my face. It's a bit weird watching YouTube on like my actual TV, but it's really, really nice, and it streams pretty quickly as well. I find it's a bit easier to use than the whole PS4 YouTube application. I find it's a bit quicker. Maybe that's just my slightly biased perception at this point because I've had the Wii U for about a month or so by this point. But it does work very, very, very well. Another feature that doesn't seem to be mentioned too often that really, really ought to be is the Nintendo Wii U chat feature. Now, if anyone here is an Apple owner or and has an iPhone, iPad, anything like that, if I say to you FaceTime with Nintendo, you've got it on the head, or Skype if you don't. It's really nice use of the camera that's featured on the controller, and I don't believe we mentioned this in the first part of the review, and I do apologise for that. But it really works exactly the same way as Skype does, and that's really fantastic for use. I think I just love that feature. I know obviously a lot of people sort of say about, oh well, Sony doesn't have the same sort of voice chat like Xbox does, and then nobody really wants to talk about Nintendo. I admit that it's not great as far as like multi-calling is concerned, but then I haven't really used it too often. I don't really have many friends on the Nintendo Wii U yet. I've had a lot of problems with my internet connection, hence where my videos are going up a bit later. But I love that Nintendo are taking this sort of social connectivity into the next level, and they're really bringing the Wii U into the 21st century next generation console market. And so ultimately, how do I feel about the functions and user interface of the Wii U? Well, if I'm honest, I do think it's really, really good, and as I've said multiple times during this video already, it's really, really accessible, and obviously I know there's oriented towards kids, as many people would believe, so I suppose that's probably a necessity. I could carry on and make loads and loads more points, and I'm aware there's probably some things I've missed, but I wanted to keep this relatively short and simple because there's only really so much that people will be willing to hear about in terms of user interface and tapping buttons. So the next video will of course be the crunch point of the Nintendo Wii U, which is of course the games. What makes a games console a games console? So I'll be looking through my collection and showing you talking about the graphics, how they play, are they fun, which ones are worth buying, which ones aren't. So definitely tune in for that one. Follow us on all of our social medias if you haven't already, and if you haven't already, also click the like and subscribe buttons because that would make my day. Well, thank you very much guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!